In the headlines, His Majesty the King returns to Phuentsholing from Samrujonkar. Paro College of Education starts new qualitative selection system to attract excelling teacher candidates. And India records the highest single-day COVID deaths. And Kuzangpla, and welcome. You're watching BBS News. My name is Chiku. His Majesty the King returned to Phuentsholing today after a visit to Samrujonkar. His Majesty was in Samrujonkar to review measures to control the spread of COVID-19 in the Dzongkhag, which is under lockdown since May 6.
While in Samrujonkar, His Majesty held meetings with the Eastern COVID-19 Task Force and the Samrujonkar Dzongkhag Task Force. His Majesty visited the international border checkpost and other high-risk points under surveillance. His Majesty visited the Motanga Industrial Park, where works to build a new oxygen plant is being accelerated to meet the regional need for oxygen during the pandemic. His Majesty also visited the new 40-bedded Deothang Hospital, currently under construction. His Majesty the King also visited the Gyaltsung site at Pemathang and the site for the upcoming Desung National Service Water Project in Samrujonkar. The water project is scheduled to start soon to build drinking water supply infrastructure for the people of the Thonde. Sunampeng for BBS News.
The central monastic body, along with the sacred relics, arrived at their summer residence at the Tushchozong in Thimphu today. The monk body, led by the Dorchilopen, departed from their winter residence, the Punakhadzong, early morning today. However, due to the ongoing pandemic, there were no blessings or gatherings allowed along the way. The trip was also completed in one day. The Prime Minister, along with parliamentarians and other senior officials, received the central monastery body and the sacred relics at the Tushchozong. A couple tested positive for COVID-19 on antigen test in Tushchuling in Samtse earlier this evening. Their samples and that of 10 other close contacts have been sent to Phuentsholing for the RT-PCR test. According to the Tushchuling Drungpa, the woman has no travel history. However, her husband, who is a Desup, came to stay home while on duty a few days ago. The woman has not been able to work in her shop since yesterday after falling ill. For now, the couple and the primary contacts are kept in an isolation facility awaiting the RT-PCR results. Despite the possibility of a false positive result on the antigen test, contact tracing is underway. The health team from the Samtse General Hospital was also in Tushchuling on standby. The Department of Revenue and Customs is planning to revise its customs duty tax for goods imported through courier companies. The DRC taxes such goods through the customs service counters operating in the courier offices. The department says they are also aware of people who feel the tax rate is extremely high, while the pint-sized tax ceiling is not justifiable for the recent times.
As per the Custom Rules and Regulations of Bhutan 2017, the department shall exempt customs duty on import of goods through courier as gifts up to an invoice value of 3,000 Nyultram. The current customs duty and sales tax for cosmetics and clothing, which are the most common imported goods, is at 40%. For footwear, it is 35%. There is no or zero tax for mobile phones and laptops imported through the courier services.
The tax rates on garments and the shoes, as complained by the individuals, is high, because initially when we have fixed the rate at 40% and 35%, the government was actually aiming to promote the domestic industries. We were anticipating that maybe the domestic industries could come up with the garments and shoes which could be like import substitutions.
People think they are paying the taxes only when they use the courier services, but not when they buy the goods directly from stores. But the reality is, even if you buy goods from a store in person, you are paying an indirect tax which is included in the price of the goods by the seller.
The office collected more than 34 million Yultum from customs duty and sales tax from the 2 courier service providers in Thimphu in this fiscal year alone. This is more than 5 times the amount collected in 2017-2018 fiscal year. The increase is attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, enhancement in the financial system, and the growing number of Bhutanese living abroad. The customs duty allowance and tax rate, according to most people, needs to be looked into.
Since we have realized that the CD on garments and shoes are high, so DRC we would want to propose for a revision. It's a downward revision, especially keeping in mind that we would want to give our Bhutanese citizens a better products.
Consumers refused to come on camera, but said they are also not really sure why the customs counter were put in place only recently. According to the Regional Revenue and Customs Office, the service counters were installed for the convenience of both the service provider and the people.
We started the customs counter for DHL in September 2019, but the one in Bhutan Post has been there since 2001. This is an in-house customs facility. Most of the consignments that are meant for Thimphu come from Paro and Phinsoling, and in the past we usually collected the taxes then and there after declaring the consignments. It was inconvenient for people living in Thimphu to pay their taxes there.
Considering the inflation rate and the exponential increase in the usage of such facilities in the country, the department is considering revising the rates at the earliest. Nishidoji, PBS News.
Starting this year, admission for Bachelor of Education or B.Ed will be carried out before the admissions for other programs in the RUB colleges. This, according to the Paro College of Education, is in line with the new qualitative selection system to attract high-performing high school graduates to consider teaching as their first choice. The college will also decrease its intake based on the Education Ministry's teacher requirement projection.
The college is currently conducting panel interviews for the 200 shortlisted candidates. The applicants will be assessed based on their communication skills, creativity and critical thinking, among others. Only 170 candidates will be selected. 100 will be admitted into the B.Ed primary programs and 70 into the B.Ed Zonka program. The college received an overwhelming number of applications from some 6,000 students for the 170 slots.
I got 75% in class 12, but I opted to go for teaching instead of going for other options. This is because firstly I have my parents supporting me, and then secondly it has been my long time interest to join the teaching profession.
In class 12 I scored 75.75. I opted for teaching because basically we have a thought in community that teaching should be in last, like they keep teaching as in last option. So yeah, I wanted to change people's mind.
My percentage in 12th grade was 80.5, and I opted for teaching because it was like my ambition since I was in primary school, and if I get an opportunity here this time, it would be a dream come true for me.
According to the Paro College of Education, they want to change the practice of students keeping the teaching profession as the last resort.
No matter how good the curriculum that we have, or we might have the best infrastructure, but without quality teachers, the quality of education will be hampered. So our main goal is to attract quality high school graduates, not only in terms of academics, but also with strong character, who are passionate, who are highly motivated to become teachers.
Besides the implementation of the new qualitative selection system, the college has also proposed for systemic reforms to the Education Ministry.
In the first place, increasing their stipend while they're in the college for the 4-year training program. So that is one. And then second, currently we have this the system of RCSC examination where each candidate has to sit this examination after their graduation. So we have proposed to RCSC that we could do away with this and make it guaranteed employment for these candidates.
Can you see figure 5.7? Yes.
The new system is expected to enhance the status of the teaching profession in the country. The 2019 pay hike made teachers the highest paid civil servants in the country. Sunampem for BBS News.
Farmers in Kangma Chuk of Pemagasil are growing more onions than ever. Their market response during their first attempt last year was encouraging. Gradually, the community that once focused on subsistence farming is shifting towards mass commercial farming.
These days, onion gardens are a familiar sight in the Chuk. Last season, almost every household made extra money growing the crop. They acted on the opportunity they saw when onions were in short supply in the country amid the pandemic.
I sold it for 40 nutram per kilogram to the villagers. For others, it was 5 nutram more. I made around 8,000 nutram, but this excludes the income earned from my fellow villagers.
This is our second year into growing onions, and this time as well, we hope for a better yield. I will be able to earn more than the previous year if that happens.
The farmers expect to harvest around 2 Bolero pickup truckloads of onions this time. It is almost double of what they produced last year. The district agriculture sector is supporting the initiative through free seed distribution. The office also constructed a shed for curing onions and plans to construct 2 more within this financial year.
We have one curing shed in Lower Kangma. We have been taught how to use it in drying our onions.
We requested for a curing shed because storing onions has been a problem for us. We don't want our harvest to go to waste. We are happy our need has been heard.
For now, the farmers are looking to sell their onion harvest within the village and nearby schools. However, the ultimate target remains to produce enough to be supplied to places beyond. For Tuledochi in Pemagasil, Phuket, VBS News.
And the success of mass chili farming in Jangdung village of Mongar is expected to address the chili shortage in the district. To address the issue, the Jangdung Geza Dejung Tokpa, a farmers group in the village, started growing chilies during the off-season from February. The group has already harvested and sold over 600 kilograms of chilies.
Having worked hard in the sun and rain for several months, members of the group are happily reaping the benefits. So far, the group supplied chilies to Lingmithang, Gyalpushing and Mongar town. They expect to harvest another 2 tons of this spice. Satisfied with the yield, the group plans to cultivate chilies next year as well.
This year, with support from Dzongkhag, we have cultivated chilies on more than 2 acres of land on a trial basis. The chili is a hybrid Indian variety, and the harvest has been bountiful and beyond our expectation.
We ventured into early chili cultivation upon the recommendation from the Geog Agriculture Extension Supervisor. We were inspired and worked very hard for the cultivation. For now, it is an off-season for chili production, but we worked hard. There is no dearth of buyers for chili here. They added if farmers continue to receive support from the government, it won't take long for the country to achieve food self-sufficiency.
We could not cultivate much this year since it was on only 2.5 acres of farmland. But I feel that we were able to address the chili shortage in the district.
So,
if the Bhutanese people seriously commit themselves to vegetable production, I think we can solve the vegetable shortage during off-seasons.
I thought that we were quite late to grow chilies this time since the rice harvest already finishes by November or December. We are discussing in the group that we must grow chili either in the same place a little earlier or we have to look for other drylands to grow chili. During the first harvest last month, farmers charged 500 Newton for a kilogram. However, the Dongkhag agriculture sector intervened and set the market rate at 350 Newton. For now, going by the success of the mass chili production in the district, the group plans to extend its farmland to 25 acres from next year. For Sonam Tsring in Mongar, Kelsang Choden for BBS News.
India recorded more than 4,000 COVID deaths, the highest in 24 hours, and almost 350,000 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. Similarly, as India holds vaccine exports and oxygen supplies, Nepal is struggling with its second wave, with more than 4,000 deaths due to the virus so far.
According to international media, vaccines are running short, especially in the two hardest hit regions in India, Maharashtra and New Delhi. India's second wave of pandemic has increased calls for a nationwide lockdown and prompted more and more states to impose tougher restrictions that have hurt businesses and the wider economy. Today, there are more than 22 million confirmed cases in India and over 200,000 people lost their lives. The World Health Organization on Tuesday said a variant of COVID-19 first detected in India last year has been found in at least 44 countries. Over in Nepal, about 200 deaths were reported yesterday. According to Nepal's health ministry, the total nationwide infection count has crossed 400,000 with over 9,000 fresh cases yesterday. The international media say Nepal has now suspended its vaccination program after it ran out of doses, which is expected to worsen the situation. Initially, India donated about 1 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Nepal also secured doses from the global vaccine sharing program COVAX and from China. Globally, over 159 million people have been infected by COVID-19 and more than 3 million people have lost their lives to the disease. Kinzang Haden for BBS News.
And now a recap of headlines. His Majesty the King returns to Phuntsholing from Samrup Jongkhar. Paro College of Education starts new qualitative selection system to attract excelling teacher candidates. And India records the highest single-day COVID deaths. And this brings us to the end of the day's bulletin. Thank you for watching.